we just grew apart. In other words, that mean we just grew apart. First, I want to talk about Cardi B and Offset, then Uncle Luke. Now, we just grew apart. In other words, that mean we just grew apart. And the difference between talking and communicating in relationships. But first, let's start with Cardi B. Cardi B says the reason she's divorcing Offset is because she got sick and tired of arguing. Now, I'm going to translate a lot of the stuff that she said. Because it really said that, we just grew apart. But now, it's 3 ways that you can grow apart from a person. Mentally, emotionally, and then physically. But let's get into it. Cardi B says the reason she's divorcing Offset is because she got sick and tired of arguing. Now, translation. Issues and problems that never get resolved as soon as they happen only get repeated. That's why I always say, man, resolve your issues right then because they will soon get repeated if not resolved. Their problems are always lingered on and never really got resolved. She says, I want to let y'all know I have not shed one tear. Now, translation. Her fight and determination to keep the marriage together has long been gone. And not shedding a tear means she's been months or maybe years mentally and emotionally removed from her marriage and Offset. So her mind has already been made up to divorce and leave Offset. It was just a matter of time before she did physically. She was already mentally, emotionally gone. When she said, I did not shed one tear, I said that lady has already been removed from Offset in her marriage. Mentally and emotionally. Then now just physically. Okay. As far as the real reason for the breakup, she just got sick and tired of effing arguing, and she got tired of not seeing eye to eye. Translation. Not seeing eye to eye, meaning they could never find any common ground / mutual understandings after fights and arguments. She said, when you feel like it's just not the same anymore. Okay, translation. The fun, romance, is lust. The fun, romance, and lust is over because they never built their relationship for life's challenges and changes. By really getting a better understanding of one another, establishing any type of respect, not building trust, nurturing, and encouraging the development of the relationship, not making a full-time commitment and responsibility for one another, working on communication and cooperation, share core beliefs, values, and interests between each other, for their future together. Now, I'm going to break down the difference between building a marriage or relationship off of lust and then the proper way to build it. Now, check this out. When you build a relationship off of lust, it's not strong enough to handle and withstand any hardships and obstacles because it's built on top of sand and a rock-solid foundation. When love is properly built by experiencing a lot of ups and downs together and fighting through them as a team, the couple can look back on everything they've gone through from years of hardships and experiences and say, if we can make it through all of that other stuff we fought through and made it out of that, like in the past, like earthquakes, thunderstorms, and hurricanes, then we can stay committed mentally, emotionally, and physically and make it through any other problems life challenges throws at us. Fighting through hardships together and making it through them only makes the couple skin thicker, more confident, know that they have each other's back and full support because their true characters have been revealed, and that strengthens the bond, brings them closer, and makes the relationship stronger. Now check this out with the lust thing. Lust can't withstand any hardships because it's so weak. So as soon as the life challenges start to happen, the couple will buckle under pressure from having a fragile foundation because of not going through the hard times and making it through them together. That's why I don't build nothing off of lust. It's got to build the proper way. It takes time. Now, she said before she actually gets cheated on, she'd rather just leave. Translation. She's been with Offset for years, for like 4 years. So she has a good degree of knowledge of his ways, behavior, and habits. She knows how Offset reacts after fights and what he does afterwards because she's been a stripper / hooker herself and played the side chick role to other married men's marriages. So with the knowledge and experiences of that, she knows that the side chick always knows more than the wife. So after heated arguments, she knows what he does, where he goes, and rather than just repeat the same cycle of him coming and going, she'd rather leave, especially since her mind and emotions was already planned to leave a long time ago. That's Cardi B. Now let's break down Uncle Luke. I was disappointed to hear my man Uncle Luke say, I was caught off guard. You was caught off guard. You ain't look at no signs, Uncle Luke? Man, come on now. A wife of 12 years, you didn't get no signs, Uncle Luke. Come on now. Uncle Luke said he was blindsided, hurt, and surprised by his wife of 12 years filing for divorce. Outside of cheating, which is the obvious one, he said he didn't mess around. It could be other reasons to make a wife file for divorce. It could be a wife feels like her husband isn't being receptive to her wants and needs, or she feels she takes care of more responsibilities and chores in and outside the household. Did Uncle Luke's wife seek individual therapy about marriage to contemplate and discuss the conflicts, dissatisfaction, and a divorce by herself? If she went by herself, that right there let me know then. But I'll get into that too, though. Did Uncle Luke's wife seek individual therapy about her marriage to contemplate and discuss the conflicts, dissatisfaction, and a divorce? Her going by herself could indicate she didn't want his thoughts and opinions heard, just only hers, because that is a decision she wanted to make by herself, not with them getting involved. And I saw this on Empire right here with Taraji P. Henson on Empire. She did the same thing to Terrence Howard. She would go see a marriage counselor by herself because she was contemplating divorcing Terrence Howard, and in the next episode she served him divorce papers. So did she go by herself, Uncle Luke, to see her own marriage counselor by herself? I doubt she'd tell you that, but if she did, she was already discussing and contemplating on leaving you, big dog. So that was a sign. Her going to see a marriage counselor by herself. Okay. Another way Uncle Luke could have been blindsided is he probably thought that the absence of fights and arguments in his marriage was a good sign that everything was peaches and creams, when it was a really bad sign the whole time, and that his wife grew tired of going through and bringing up issues with no noticeable or intangible results. So she just decided to give up on the marriage. Okay. Now, when she go quiet, it's something wrong. If my woman not just saying nothing, it's something going on with that. Like, nothing. You ain't complaining, not talking, you just being quiet the whole time. No. It's something going on. When it's peaceful, and that means she planning her exit. You just sitting there, ain't nothing going. No. Okay, Uncle Luke, I got you. Did she walk away from arguments? If she did, that just wasn't her walking away from the arguments. That was her subconsciously walking away from her marriage also. It's one thing for a couple to have verbal fights, but it's another thing if one partner isn't trying to fight to keep the marriage and relationship together. Woo! Come on, man. That's true. You don't just walk away from the argument. You walking away from this marriage too. Okay. Did Uncle Luke's wife go totally silent after years of them trying to work to improve and maintain a 12-year marriage? If a wife is no longer talking about her marriage, not looking to improve or maintain it, not even trying to be specific about solutions, and she's so peaceful, she may be plotting and planning her exit, just like I said, man. Come on, you mean to tell me she just so peaceful the whole time, Uncle Luke, out of 12 years? She surprised you, blindsided you, and she was peaceful that whole time? No, man, When she's that peaceful, she's plotting and planning her exit. Okay, he said he was surprised she filed for divorce. So if she caught him off guard, she was plotting the whole time. Every married man needs to be totally aware, recognize, and realize it's a very bad sign if his wife all of a sudden starts to shut down verbally. See what I mean? You just shut down completely like that, not complaining, not saying nothing. No. When I had one a long time with my woman, and we don't argue, I'll make an argument. No. I'm finna create one right now. No, there's something going on. You can't be this. No. It's too peaceful around here. I got the man. I'm gonna bring up something we can argue about. Something. No, man. I gotta pick your mind, see where your head is. So every married man needs to be totally aware, recognize, and realize it's a very bad sign if his wife all of a sudden starts to shut down verbally. When she's no longer talking about her day, being distant, not talking about what's going on in her personal life, or just stops complaining altogether, those are all huge bad signs. You can always tell how a person really feels about you after a breakup. Those feelings that they really felt about you but held in really reveals themselves when the relationship is over. I always say that, man. I can tell how a person really felt about me when a relationship is over. You know, that they talk bad about you, disrespect you, because like they could have held it in when they was in a relationship with you, but now when they got out, true feelings get revealed. She was married to Luke for 12 years and didn't even give him the respect by telling him she was going to divorce him, and why. At least give a man you shared a large part of your life with that much respect. Hey, It really shouldn't be no catching on guard, Uncle Luke. She should have told you, man. 12 years, 12 years. Man, when a man's wife or woman seems real tight-lipped all of a sudden for days or months, it is crucial for that man to do inventory and pick his woman's mind every 6 months or a year to get an idea where her head and heart is. Is it still with him or somewhere else? That's true, man. You gotta do inventory. That's why I say, man, if it's too peaceful, man, start an argument. No, I gotta do that, man. No. If it's too peaceful, she's plotting and planning her exit. Man, no, man. Hey, every now and then do inventory. Luke, man, 12 years and you ain't catch on no signs. She was peaceful that whole time. She was plotting and planning, big dog. 12 years, you ain't see no signs. Man, that's hard to believe, Luke. Did she go to the marriage counselor by herself? I doubt she tell you that. Was she just being quiet? And once y'all arguing, she just walked away from you. See, that's why I say, man, it doesn't mean that she walked away from their argument that y'all getting into together. That means she walked away from your marriage. Because if she wanted really, if her mind really into it and she really into that marriage like you, man, she gonna stand there and fight with you. She ain't just gonna walk away from you. Now, on the other hand, if her head trying to cool down, that's one thing. Like, you know what? Let me just go ahead in this other room and cool my head down for a minute. Then we'll come back and solve it. But just walk away, walk out the door, and we don't talk about it ever again. No, you just walked out the marriage also then. Okay, we've grown apart. Now, these are just other phrases and words that mean that we've grown apart. And I also want to talk about the difference between talking and communicating in relationships also. I'm going to break all that down. But other signs that mean we've grown apart. Now, one, I can't never count on you. Now when you hear that, it's really saying like they're mentally and emotionally already removed from you. I can't count on you. Because I see now when you're in a relationship and it's strong, I'm supposed to be able to count on you, man, like, you know, at least more times than less. You know what I'm saying? At least, if it's 10 times, at least 9. You know, I say 8, but at least 9. But I can't count on you. When your woman say, I can't count on you, your woman is dropping the ball every time every time you throw it to her. And by her telling you, you can't count on her, means it's a mental and emotional fundamental breakdown occurring in a relationship. Using these words communicates to your woman that she's slipping. So if these actions are continued after you check it and correct it, then she's not putting forth the efforts and contributions you both need to keep conflicts down and the relationship afloat. The way you talk versus communication with your partner makes all the difference in a relationship. Talking is, I can't count on you. What makes it direct? Now, talking is direct to me because you're getting your point across. But if you feel there's something else going on with her that's causing her to have cooperation breakdown, then sit her down and communicate to her your disapprovals and disappointments to check to see where is the source of the problem coming from. That's causing her to lack production. The way couples talk to each other can cause a breakdown in communication, but the way you properly communicate keeps the lines of communication open. Sometimes a woman needs to hear her man's roar. But now, like I say now, instead of saying, I can't count on you, be like, hey, you know, I need you to step your game up. You know what I'm saying? Hey, because I feel like you're slacking on something. I really need you to step your game up, man. Because every time I tell you to do something, it's like, what's the problem coming from, man? It's like I say, the source of the problem. Is it your job? You know what I'm saying? They got you been out of shape. You got you lacking. Like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Communicate to her. But now you need talking and communicating in relationships, because sometimes you got to get that point across. But communicating is like when you're trying to get an understanding. But number 2, she says you always. Now check this out now. She says you always. When she accuses her man of always doing a specific thing, if he leaves his shoes in the middle of the floor, forgot to close the kitchen cabinet, messed up the pillows on the couch, or leaving the toilet seat up, it's not just her being critical, but it also doesn't offer any good feedback on what he can do to change something he's doing. Her tone makes it harder for her man to even want to try to do something differently, even after all those other times he did, so it didn't get noticed. So this nitpicking, because that's what it really is, so this nitpicking, she's doing really things from her needs and wants aren't being met. So instead of her finding faults to fuss about, she should sit her man down, address and express what those needs and wants are, so they can get fulfilled. Saying you always is her talking. But her sitting her man down and addressing and expressing what's really going on is her communicating to him. See what I mean by talking and communicating? You both need, you need both talk and communicate. But like I said, communicating is when you're trying to get that understanding. Hey, you know what? You know what I'm saying? I feel like you need to do this, instead of me, you know what I'm saying, complaining, her sitting up there nitpicking about the cabinet, this and the toilet seat. No, just what's really going on? You know what I'm saying? I know you just, it's something that need to be fulfilled and ain't getting fulfilled. So sit me down, talk to me. 3, I just don't want to talk about it. This is often heard when the emotions are at its highest. But in order to maintain a healthy and strong relationship is to go through it to get out of it. So if she is not willing to talk to her man about what's going on wrong, then that lets him know she's not willing to repair it. See? Stonewalling her man or completely shutting down the communication. Can't communicate to her man that he's not important to her. The best thing she can do is to find a specific time to talk later when she cools down and communicate to him how she really feels about that particular problem that had her upset. Resolve now so it doesn't be repeated later. You got to, man. Like I said, communication, man. Communication. We could talk all day, but communication. It might be a part 2 to this, player, but this is long. Yeah, that's why I took my time on this one. Really did. That's why I took so long to do it. 4, you so lazy, then your mama teach you better. Uh-oh. This could be a fighting word. Then your mama teach you better. It is frustrating to notice your partner never picks up after themselves. But calling them lazy and saying that their mama raised them better can put a big dent in the relationship. A complaint that's a personal attack on her man's character is a super no-no. Address and explain the situation. Then how it could be improved on by him simply picking up his own things that he may have forgotten. My homie had this plate sitting on the table. His wife screamed until he picked it up and put it in the sink. I was over my homeboy crib one time. Long story short. And we was like sitting at the table. No, we was sitting in the living room, and he was eating his food. And this one I really lost respect for this man. Really after this too, cause see, he was like Kevin Garnett on the basketball court, right? So man, but at the house I could tell who had wore the construction boots and the pants, and it was her. So he was eating at the table. I mean, he was eating at the living room table, and she was like, "Don't you leave that plate right there? Don't you leave that plate right there? Put it in the sink." Now, I could look at my woman, and she can read my eyes and be like, you know what? This ain't the time for that right now. You know, if she was to say something to me. But for a woman to check her man like that, and then you know what else though? After he got done, instead of him saying, you know what, I'm gonna put it up when I get up, I'm just talking right now. You know, she stood right there, man, and watched them put that plate in the sink. I knew right then who wore the pants and who wore the construction boots in that house, man. I lost respect for him, man. I'm like, come on, man. Like, I can look at my woman, she can tell, like, okay, he ain't really with that right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna leave him alone. I could just look at her like, you know what, let me just leave it alone. You know what I'm saying? But this woman stared this man down till he put that plate in the kitchen sink. I'm like, come on, man. 5. You can't be mad at me. Okay. Her telling her man that he can or can't be mad at her or about something never ends well. Using those words are pointless, and all it does is just creates more bad tension and frustrations. Discuss the real reasons he's mad instead of trying to be dismissive of how he feels. Explaining how she feels opens the door for solutions, but her being dismissive further adds more problems. And like I say, it might be it might be part 3 to this player. Should have put a little more time on it. But 6. My homegirl's man always does this and that. Uh-oh. This could be fighting words. Even if she does see the imbalance between her relationship and her friend's relationship, especially if it's pertaining to what another man is doing for his woman. See how you can say certain things, man, and it's letting you know that it's really like drifting apart, man. Because see, if you really down with your man, she wouldn't say this, man. This is disrespectful, really. You know what I'm saying? But it's how you know relationships growing apart, mentally and emotionally. But if it's pertaining to what her man is doing for his woman, it's never smart or wise to try to make that comparison known. This statement makes her man drift further apart from her, if not pack up and leave, because he'll feel like what he's doing isn't good enough and his contributions are shortchanged because she looks at another man as being more valuable than her man. No respect for her man at all when you say that, man. No, don't make comparisons, man, out loud. See that? Like I say, man, when she down, she ain't gonna never utter that. Never. That phrase is nowhere near what gonna come out her mouth or come out her lips or nothing like that. Even if she is thinking it, it'll never come out her mouth. 7. You need to take. You need to make more money. Now check this out. Now you need to make more money. Even if the finances are tight and the couple is on a budget, by her telling her man that what he's bringing in is not getting it after it's been years and it hasn't been a problem. He's trying his best to even with overtime pay. It will lead to destruction and displeasure later on in the relationship. This is another statement that says he's not good enough or he's not doing good enough. You need to make more money is her talking. But a better way to communicate with her man is to say, me and you both need to get a part-time job to keep our heads above water until things get back stable. It's about teamwork, not an individual. See what I mean? You need to make more money. No. How about we both need to get a part-time job? How about that? It's like I say, it's not about an individual. It's about teamwork. Number 8. Check this. I loved this about my ex. Now check this out. Now see, all this is just, man, we drifting further apart. Every man is different, especially if she had grown males before, and now finally got her hands on a grown man. But her past flame could have been unique in his own way. But comparing her past guy to her current guy will never have positive results. Most people, if not all, do compare our ex or current mates in our mind. But females do it, especially when they get angry. But letting her man in on how she really feels will not go over well if he's already jealous and insecure type. But if he's confident and secure in himself, it'll sting him for a little. But by her opening up her mouth, she just spilled her brains to him about how she really feels. So he knows who her head and heart is still attached to. But the guy that stays with her after hearing this further gets disrespected, and it'll just cause more problems in the relationship. She's grading him on the same scale as her ex, so he'll never be able to live up to it. Not at all. He never will be, man. If you compare me to another man on what he do and what I do, I'll never be able to, you know what I'm saying, to like be myself. You just comparing me to this man all the time. That's just disrespectful. See what I mean? Drifting apart. 9. And that is disrespectful too. 9. I wouldn't do that if I was you. Now check this out. Now I wouldn't do that if I was you. This can come off controlling or like a threat, depending on the circumstances in which it's said. Just because she wouldn't do it if she was in her man's shoes doesn't mean he shouldn't do it. This is her indirectly saying that she doesn't trust her man's rational decision-making capabilities. Rational decision-making capabilities. That's what that is, trusting. Number 10. Why don't you just get over it? Why don't you just get over it? This is mean-spirited and dismissive at the same time. So her coming off this way will only lead to verbal boxing matches or a verbal boxing match. Each person has their own style of getting through and over a hard time. So instead, she should just respect his style, patience, and abilities to move past a hard phase in his life or a personal emotional moment. Giving him more support is all he needs until he finds his footing and balance. And this is just 10, players. It might be a part 3 to this because I got a lot written down. That's why I took my time doing this. But, hey, we just grew apart or we've grown apart. Part 1. Part 2 coming up.